to Blazon Books podcast. I'm your host, Bernetta, and today's author interview is with Raven Starr.
Hello, everybody. My name is Raven Starr, and I'm here because I love to write books.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So let's see. The book we're going to mainly talk about today will be The Dark World, The Beginning. But I actually was doing a little research and I noticed that your first love was poetry, then plays.
I used to write poetry, and I wrote 2 plays as a young adult living in Connecticut.
Okay.
Wow, get in with your research, girl.
I try. So you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, how did you get into the whole poetry and plays?
Poetry has always been something that I have used as an outlet for my emotions. I couldn't really express them as a younger person, so I would write down, just my feelings, and I don't know why, but it rhymes all the time. So
I love those. Those are the best.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. And in high school, I had a friend, and his name was Jarvis, and he passed away by playing Russian roulette.
Oh,
And that just, it hit me so hard to be 15 and to know this person. You go to school with them, he used to sit next to me in class, and for him to die in that manner triggered something in me. And the first play I wrote was called The Wrong Choice. And it was my way of getting everything out there and giving him the closure maybe that he needed, and
right.
maybe closure that we all needed at that time, because
Right.
we were
And so
all
you know
really
how to
young.
deal with it better as well. So yeah, I totally understand that.
So yeah, after writing the play, I used to belong to this group in London called the Drop In Learn Center. And I wish that there were more places like this now,
Mhm.
because it really kept us off the street. It
Okay.
really did. We would learn not just, how to interact with everything that you had to deal with living in the ghetto, and being poor and not having the opportunities that everybody else around you had. So to be in this one place where you knew that you fit in was was instrumental. I have to say, it was instrumental into me turning into the woman I am now, because they pushed me. Oh, you want to write poetry? Well, let's do this. Oh, you wrote this play. And once I wrote the play, it really started to snowball. I directed the play,
Well, that was
and
sure.
we shot it. And oh, it was awesome. It was awesome to be 16, writing and directing a play, and it was phenomenal. It really was. It was phenomenal.
That's
And
amazing.
just that little bit just steered me into wanting to continue to reach out through the written word.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. I also was looking at, I want to say you have what, over 18 books out there, or did I miscount? I was like, this girl's been busy.
uh, yeah. I started, whew, I'd say sometime in 2000 and something,
Okay.
and I was with Red Rose Publishing at the time, and that was a great opportunity just to get your toes wet, so you knew what was going on. And writing back then was so different than it is now.
Okay.
You couldn't, now you can be an indie author, and you don't really have to go down that avenue of chasing the agents and chasing traditional book companies. Now you can get with a smaller company, or you could just do it yourself, you
Right.
know? So what I learned when I started writing was, it was fun, and it's still fun. I think if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it to this day, but it's so therapeutic for me. If I don't write, like if I take a day off or if I have writer's block, my kid, she's like, please go in your office and write down 2 paragraphs so you can calm down, because I just have to.
Okay.
I feel that need within me so much to write that I just, if I don't, ooh, girl, if I'm not writing, I'm not a happy individual with it. It's
It's
crazy.
therapeutic. You need it. It's like your coffee in the morning.
It really is. It really is. It
Oh,
really is.
okay. No, it sounds like you traveled the world a lot. I heard Kentucky. I think I read Tennessee, Connecticut. Like you've been everywhere.
Not to really all the places that I want to be. But yeah, I've had an interesting life.
Okay.
Uh, you know, I took off when I was 15. I was having, problems at home. I figured I could do better by myself. I ended up walking, walking and hitchhiking across the United States. I ended up in Denver. I got involved with a local Native American tribe. It was my life. People don't really understand that, I may be quiet, but whoa, the things that I've experienced in my life, um, they have shaped my views
Okay.
upon what's going on, especially what's going on right now.
So when can we get this autobiography from you then? You're writing all of
You know,
these stories, but we need to know about Miss Raven. Like you've been through a lot, you've done a lot, you've seen a lot. Like we need to hear all about it.
you are not the first person to ask me that. It's it's on my to-do list somewhere in there. It's coming.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll be looking for that. Now, do when you write your books, like, do you publish them yourself? Do you edit? Do you do everything yourself, or do you actually, source those out?
Um, in the beginning, I was doing it all myself,
Okay.
and then I got with Christine with After Hours Publications, and that's who I'm with right now.
Okay.
And so what I'm learning, because I took such a long gap between writing with Red Rose Publishing and then trying to come back into the field again, it's so vastly different. There's always something that I need to learn, and it keeps me going. I have to say it does. It keeps me going. But it's different. It's different. So with my stories now, I try and get them out. I kind of rest my brain for a minute. Um, I started using something called Pro Writing Aid. Oh, that's fantastic. You throw the book in there and it helps you with all of your grammar. It's almost like Grammarly, but
Okay.
free, you know. And then after that, I send them off, and if she likes them, they come out. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Out of all your books and your genres and stuff, which one do you prefer writing?
I like the horror and the paranormal so much.
Okay, so I
I
was
do.
noticing that this last book here was a paranormal. So you want to talk a little bit about that? That was freaky, by the way.
Did you read it?
I read most of it. I didn't finish it, but I read most of it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, Alex!" Like, I wanted to pick your brain with this one, like with everything that you traveled, everywhere you went, and everything. Like, how do you come up with these?
um, that's really kind of like a hard question for me to answer. It really is. It just, I had another reader come at me with the book, and she was like, I felt like I was in your story, like it was happening to me. And I was like, well, is that a good thing? And she was like, girl, yes. So I like romance.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I do. I like romance. When I first started writing, I wrote erotica because that is what sells. Always. Sex sells. It's just gonna. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to write a book and then add a sex scene in just so it would be picked up by a company or anybody, you
Okay.
know? So when I've started now, I really want to be the queen of horror. I just do. I love horror. I watch horror all day.
Wow, you don't hear that often. Like that's amazing. I can remember watching it a lot as a child. And then once I went to college, it's like, okay, I watched it a little bit and then I ended up meeting my husband and he hates horror. And it's like, okay, we kind of started watching more comedy. And now it's like, it's I'll watch it, but not by myself.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I wanted to be a movie critic, to be
Okay.
honest. I was like, oh, I watch all these movies because when VHSs were out, I used to go to Hollywood Video, stock up on all the horror movies that I could get, and just sit around, eat popcorn with my friend, and just indulge in being scared.
Yeah.
And we miss that now because now people are like, oh, a scary movie is gore. That's not the same thing. Horror and gore are two totally different, it's like apples and oranges right there. At
Right.
least to me,
I
you
agree.
know.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I like to get inside your brain and kind of like scare you a little bit.
Now, how do you do your research on these though?
Um,
In your brain?
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. It's like when I love the way the scene and everything was set up. And I was loving like it's a college student and she's just having a normal college life with the thesis and all. And how did you just decide to put the estate in there, like the Armstrong estate? Like how do you just decided to come up with that? I don't want to give too much, but I want to give a little so readers can, listeners can actually pick the book up. So help me out a little bit.
Well, it started first wrapped around Armstrong Manor,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it away and I came back to it and I started reading and then I started to flesh it out a little bit.
Okay.
And the further I got into the research of uh, of William and Maggie coming from England and settling and going through all of that, and
Mhm.
then you start throwing in those little bits of and pieces of history because I love history too. I
Okay.
do. I'm working on an an Egyptian book as we speak as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love it. I just love history and historicals and all that. But I also love paranormal. So if I can blend my two loves together is really, really great. And when I look at all the different creatures that are already listed. I have a Wendigo and they're imps and sylphs, and it's just a really evasive, interactive scare thrill. That's what I want. I really want to thrill you and kind of scare you. And of course, don't you guys don't think that there's no romance, because there is. I
Yes,
like
there's
I said,
romance. I can
I like
there's romance.
romance, y'all.
Yes. Okay, so where do you do most of your writing? Is it in your office or do you just do them different areas or
Um, it's either in my room or in my office.
okay.
And I find that, most people can lie back on a couch, your feet propped up, and they can just write that way. I kind of have to sit at the desk, and it feels more to me like a work day.
Okay.
And
So
unless I'm trying to like just be lazy about it. But I try to do at least a chapter a day now, because with this book, I want it to be at least a trilogy. Maybe it can spin off into different worlds and things like that, but I'm working on a trilogy with the Dark World.
Now I did notice you had a couple of them that let's see, I think you had Torn and Torn 2.
Yes.
You had any others that kind of follow each other?
Um, Not in like a series sort of way.
Okay.
The Dark World really like the first series that I'm really concentrating on. Like
Okay.
Torn and Torn 2, it wasn't really a series. It was just like a big book that had to be broken up into two.
Okay. I was actually surprised because when I first had spoke to you, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if she's a new author," because you were so excited about the book and everything. And I was like, "Okay, let me do a little research and see, see what the book is going to be about and everything." And then when I look, I'm like, "This girl is no newbie." I'm like, "She's been doing this. Oh my gosh!" I was so surprised, and I just want to say congratulations on everything that you've done so far.
I appreciate it, girl. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It I don't even know how this whole podcast thing came about, but I appreciate you getting in touch with me and letting me have this opportunity to reach anybody and everybody that wants a good laugh. I do rock comedy too, though.
Okay. She's not all dark, y'all. So
Yes,
she
yes,
likes
no, not
comedy too.
all dark. No.
Okay, well, awesome. And what are you working on right now? Are you just working on the series? Like,
Yeah, I'm working on book 2 right now. I like I said, I just finished up. It's called Hatshepsut's Heir. That's going to be my Egyptian theme book.
okay.
I have Thor's Arrow, which is a Viking book that I'm working on. So I don't just work on one book at a time. I kind of like jump around. Whatever I'm feeling that kind of day, then that's what I write in.
Which one of these books would be your favorite out of everything that you've written so far?
I would have to say The Dark World is my favorite right now.
And who would be your, I guess, your most lovable character?
Um, Let me see. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not really sure yet
Joy
because
reminds me a lot of myself. I kind of fell in love with Joy.
oh, she's awesome. I like her little snarky little comments sometimes.
Yes.
I do. She's funny, and I like that because she's funny. But I also want to throw in some real world, I don't know, like emotions that we're going through today.
Mhm.
Like what happens to Joy in the first book? She ends up having PTSD,
Okay.
and I wanna get into that, because with what we're going through right now, and people having to stay at home, and they're not used to staying at home, and people's mental isn't always where it should be right now. I kind of wanted to touch base with that, with Joy, because she is so happy and smiling, and then something bad happens and she has to really claw her way back to finding the happiness that she had in the beginning.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but Emerson, she's coming out to be pretty cool. I don't know.
Okay, so where all do you have your books at? Are they all, I noticed they're not all on Kindle. Some of them are paperback. So you're selling them through Amazon, of course, and where else?
Everything that I have is through Amazon. The older stuff, all the stuff that I have written, years back, I don't think any of that stuff is available. So
Okay.
it is almost like starting over because I don't really have those books. The only ones that are out is like Torn. There's Twisted. I have the Tapestry. Um, oh, the last one that I wrote, The Widow Awakes. That was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. I love a good ghost story, and that was what that was.
Does that sound exactly what it sounds like?
Yeah, girl, you need to read that. That's a good one. That's a good one. It's not horror, you know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
It's just a little spooky. And I like that. It's just a little spooky. But there's a lot of love in it. Mr. Ross in that book really I loved him. I loved writing that character. He was just so compassionate and loving, and yeah, The Widow Awakes. That was, yeah, I like that one.
Now, you had mentioned about PTSD. I have someone you might want to take a look at her podcast. Her name is Vanessa Ragus, and she's actually a veteran. So, and she talks a lot about PTSD too. If you wanted to just tune into her podcast every now and then, just to see
Oh,
what she's talking about,
absolutely.
and I'll send you her info as well.
Thank you. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
sure, no problem. I love networking. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. I believe that this is what we're supposed to be doing. I think that we're supposed to be helping each other out
That's right. Help each other, and then we can
and support
continue.
each
The
other.
kids can watch what we're doing and help others, and the world will be a much better place than what it is today.
Amen.
Want to give everyone your information, by the way? Like, how can they reach you? How can they find your books? Like, you have social media.
Oh yeah, you guys. I'm all over Facebook. So it's Raven Star or Raven K Star on Facebook. I have a Twitter. I think it's DK Raven on Twitter. I do have an Instagram, and that's Raven Star 9122 on Insta. And I think that's it.
Okay. All right, guys, make sure y'all please check out Raven Starr and her brand new book, which is called The Dark World, The Beginning.
This music is being brought to you by Zodi Beats.